young woman from Manila just signed one of the most talked about deals in tennis history. $75 million. Nike. And the moment the news dropped, she did not celebrate the way you would expect. She did something that stopped the entire internet cold. Nobody saw this coming, and nobody is forgetting it anytime soon. Drop a comment below. What hit you harder? The $75 million Nike deal, or what Eala did for her parents the moment it was done? Let's start with the number, because the number deserves its own moment before we get into everything else. $75 million. That is not a sponsorship. That is not a brand partnership. That is a declaration. That is Nike, the most powerful sports brand on the planet. The company that built Michael Jordan into a cultural institution and backed Serena Williams through 2 decades of dominance. Sitting across a table from a young Filipina tennis player and saying, "We believe in you so much that we are willing to put $75 million behind that belief." Let that number sit for a second. Because in the landscape of women's tennis endorsements, that figure puts Eala in a conversation that includes only a handful of athletes in the history of the sport. Naomi Osaka, Maria Sharapova, Serena Williams, the names that defined commercial dominance in women's tennis for generations. And now, reportedly, Eala. For a player still climbing the WTA rankings, still grinding through the grind, still building her professional resume, point by point and tournament by tournament, a deal of this reported magnitude is not just impressive, it is genuinely extraordinary. And the reason it exists tells you everything about how the sports business world views what is coming next for this young woman. Nike does not invest $75 million in what a player has already done. Nike invests in what they believe a player is about to become. That is their pattern, and they have been right enough times that the pattern deserves serious respect. When they backed a college basketball player named Michael Jordan before he had won a single NBA game, they were not paying for his resume. They were paying for their vision of his future. The same logic applies here. Nike is not looking at Eala's current ranking and cutting a check. They are looking at her trajectory, her marketability, her story, her cultural reach, and the market they believe she is about to open up. And they are betting heavily on all of it. Marketing professionals have already started calling it the Eala effect. And when you understand her story, you understand why the phrase exists. She has everything a global brand could possibly want in a face. The athletic ability is undeniable. She dominated the junior circuit in a way that made scouts pay attention well before she transitioned to the professional tour. The story is magnetic. A young girl from the Philippines leaving home at a young age to train at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, one of the most prestigious tennis training facilities in the world, in a country far from everything familiar, chasing a dream that most people around her could barely picture. The cultural reach is massive. The Philippines is a nation of over 110 million people, plus millions more in the diaspora scattered across North America, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, all of whom have been watching Eala's career with the kind of pride that only activates when someone who looks like you and comes from where you come from starts competing on the world stage. When Eala plays, it is not just a tennis match, it is a national event. Communities gather. Social media lights up. People who have never watched a WTA match in their lives tune in because one of their own is out there competing. That kind of cultural gravity cannot be purchased or manufactured by any marketing department on earth. It has to be earned organically, and Eala has earned it through years of sacrifice and results. Nike understands that. $75 million of understanding it, apparently. But here is the thing. As staggering as the contract number is, it is genuinely not the most powerful part of this story. Not even close. Because the moment the deal was done, the ink was dry and the swoosh was officially locked in. Eala's first move was not to celebrate herself. Her first move was to think about her parents. She bought them a house. Not a small gesture. Not a car. Not a vacation. A house. A dream home by all accounts. Spacious, thoughtfully designed, with lush gardens, natural light filling every room, and enough space for the kind of warm, loud, joyful family gatherings that Filipino households are known for. A sanctuary. A place where the people who gave up everything to support her dream could finally stop calculating and start resting. The post she shared on social media was simple, and it absolutely destroyed people emotionally across every platform it touched. Mom and Dad sacrificed so much so I could pursue this dream. Now it is time for you to have the home and life you deserve. No more worries, just peace and pride. I love you forever. 3 words in that caption carry more weight than the entire $75 million figure. No more worries. Anyone who has watched their parents stress over money, lose sleep over finances, make quiet sacrifices they never talked about out loud. Those 3 words hit like a freight train. Because it is not just a caption, it is a promise fulfilled. It is a daughter telling her parents that the war is over, the struggle is done, and from here on, they get to exhale. The internet did not handle it calmly. Comment sections filled up with thousands of people who had nothing to do with tennis, nothing to do with the Philippines, nothing to do with the WTA, but everything to do with having parents who sacrificed for them. And they saw their own story reflected back in Eala's post. That is the kind of moment that transcends sport. That is the kind of moment that reminds people why they care about athletes in the first place. To fully understand why this home purchase carries the emotional weight it does, you have to go back to the beginning. Not the beginning of her professional career, but the real beginning. The one that started with a 4-year-old girl and a grandfather who saw something extraordinary before anyone else did. Roberto Bobby Eala, Alex's late grandfather, put a tennis racket in her hands when she was 4 years old. 4. He saw the spark before the fire existed. He is not here to witness this moment, but the thread from his hands placing that racket to the moment his granddaughter signed a $75 million Nike deal is unbroken. Every single thing that has happened since traces back to that first moment. When Alex steps on a court, she carries him with her. When she wins, he wins. That is not a sentiment. That is just the truth of how legacies work. Then there are her parents, Mike and Rosila Eala. They are not the type of tennis parents who make headlines. They are not loud. They are not the ones you see screaming from the player's box or demanding media time. They are the quiet ones, the ones doing the hard work without seeking credit. And Rosila, specifically, knows exactly what her daughter's life demands, because she lived a version of it herself. A former bronze medalist swimmer at the Southeast Asian Games, she understands what athletic sacrifice actually looks like from the inside. The early mornings, the missed social events, the physical and mental cost of committing your entire self to a sport with no guarantee of return. When Alex showed potential, Mike and Rosila made a decision together. They were going all in. And tennis as a sport is brutally, relentlessly expensive. Coaching fees, court time, equipment, stringing costs, tournament entry fees, travel. And not just travel to the next city. International travel. Flights to Europe, to Asia, to wherever the junior circuit was running that month. Hotels, meals, gear, everything adding up faster than most families can process. The Eala family was strategic about every peso. They made sacrifices that most families would not even be willing to consider. And they did it quietly, without complaint, because they believed in their daughter. And then came the biggest sacrifice of all. When the opportunity came for Alex to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, Mike and Rosila had to do the thing that no parent wants to do. They had to let her go. Not to the next town, not to a different city. They had to watch their daughter board a plane and fly to the other side of the world, alone, a teenager in a foreign country, chasing a dream that was far from guaranteed to pay off. They watched her grow up through FaceTime calls and shaky live streams of ITF matches in small European towns where the Wi-Fi barely worked. They missed the everyday moments, the teenage milestones, the small victories, the hard days when she needed someone physically present. They held it together because she needed them to. And they never stopped believing. Eala knows exactly what that cost. She knows the nights her father sat at the kitchen table running the numbers one more time to figure out how to make it work. She knows the strength it took her mother to smile through the fear and the worry. She knows every airport goodbye. And so when the deal was signed, the house was not a luxury purchase. It was a reckoning. It was a daughter saying, "I know what you gave. I know what it cost. And now I am giving something back." The home reportedly comes with space for the whole extended family, gardens for quiet mornings, and room for the big celebrations that Filipino families do better than anyone. It is a place where her mother can finally stop worrying, where her father can have his coffee in peace, and where the spirit of Lolo Bobby can be felt in every corner. Now back to the court for a moment, because the contract and the emotional story exist alongside what is actually happening in her professional tennis career. And that part of the picture matters too. The timing of this deal is not random. Eala has been putting in the work, competing at the professional level, building her game and her reputation through results that speak for themselves. She was named PSA Athlete of the Year, an honor that reflects her impact not just in tennis but across sports broadly. She competed at the Rafa Nadal Academy during her formative years, while peers were at home navigating a comfortable teenage life. She came out of that experience sharper, more disciplined, and more prepared for the brutal professional circuit than most players her age. This contract is not charity. Nike does not hand out $75 million as a gesture of goodwill. They backed her because the results justified it, the story warranted it, and the market demanded it. The Asian tennis market has been waiting for its next transcendent star for years. Naomi Osaka carried the torch and opened doors. But the region is vast. The appetite for a player to rally behind is enormous, and the opportunity for a brand like Nike to plant their flag with the right athlete at the right moment is something they clearly recognized with Eala. 110 million Filipinos at home, plus the diaspora spread across every continent, equals a commercial opportunity that makes $75 million look like a reasonable down payment. The whispers about what comes next are already circulating. Signature shoe, fashion collaborations, elements of Philippine culture woven into Nike design, a marketing campaign that reaches from Manila to Tokyo to New York. The possibilities are real and they are exciting, and they are all built on the foundation of a girl who picked up a racket at 4 years old because her grandfather saw something in her. There is a young girl somewhere in the Philippines right now who does not have a Nike bag or a professional court. She has a second-hand racket and a concrete wall. And she just watched Eala sign a $75 million deal and buy her parents a home. And she understands something that she could not have understood the day before, that her passport can take her places, that her story can reach people, and that the sacrifice is worth it. That is the Eala effect, and it is just getting started. $75 million, a dream home for her parents, and a story that the entire world is still talking about. Eala is not just building a tennis career, she is building a legacy. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a video. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.